Our next speaker will be Jeremiah Durbin. Jeremiah is the soil health specialist with the Tennessee Association of Conservation Districts. Growing up, he was always involved in multiple aspects of farming and was active in his local 4-H and FFA. He is an independent soil consultant for more than 5 years, and Jeremy's going to talk to us about soil testing and the Haney test and some of the different aspects that we can look at. Jeremiah.
Am I on? All righty, here we go. All right, well, thank you all for being here. I almost want to pinch myself to make sure I'm awake and really here, because it's been so long since people are, this close. I'm loving it. Kind of miss this part of it, the little side conversations we have and whatnot. But anyways, like Mike said, I'm an independent consultant, but as for today, I am the TACD soil health specialist. So I work with USDA and NRCS to help troubleshoot, identify, or even interpret, soil testing, water, feed, analysis like that, to work alongside the producer and the NRCS and USDA, so that you guys can establish a baseline. If you want, I know everybody's got their phone. I don't do business cards. I go paperless, except for 2 places, and that's in my wallet in the bathroom. So, anybody get that? Okay, just making sure. If you want to take a picture of this is the best way to get me. I'm always on the run, but I will answer a phone call, send a text, return an email. I will tell you I am human, but I do have 2 things, and that's integrity and honesty. And if I don't know, I will tell you. But this cool little box that we all carry around, it's super dirty, take them to the bathroom sometimes, we can get hold of somebody and find out. So, more than one mind is always better. So reach out to me and I'll help you any way I can. So what is soil health? We've all heard about the principles of soil health, but at the end of the day, you guys either own your production, or you have land rent, or you got farm payments, equipment payments. You got to make sure that at your baseline, your bottom line, you can pay for that. So whether you're looking at a pasture to make it better, or maybe you're in a crop production situation, whatever the case may be, you got to know what you have. Because there's nobody in here that runs up to the truck lot and pulls out a new F450 and doesn't even go to the bank to make sure you got the money to buy it. It's crazy. So soil health, we're able to go in and measure and scale, and if you can't duplicate something, then how accurate is it? So we can actually duplicate and keep accuracy of what we have. So we can look at that soil's functionability. So how many in here have done MELIC 1, maybe MELIC 3 soil tests with UT Extension or through the co-op? Okay, fantastic. Those are chemistry, physics. Okay, we're looking at just one side of things there, looking at that. The other part of that is the biological side. So we're able to measure and scale carbon-nitrogen ratios to speed up process. As gardeners and pastures, you guys have a benefit over row croppers that don't implement 4-legged creatures or even 2-legged, because you guys get the manure, the saliva, and the urine to really feed that biology, as well as diversity in different seeds. So when you're looking at non-monoculture, you can really speed this process up, which could be a few bales of hay, or it could be more head of cattle without overgrazing. Because we all know that everything starts with the earth, and we all return back to it someday. Unless the Lord comes and we just jump up in a rapture. But to get healthy crops and to get healthy animals, we got to have healthy soils. So I'm not going to sit up here and try to jump into a bunch of super science. I just want to kind of paint you guys a big picture. Now, we all know that, and these big fancy words, but you're either growing or you're dying. If you're sitting still, you're starting to die. I don't sit still much, but I feel like I'm dying some days. But when we're improving our pastures, our paddocks, things of that nature, we've got to see what's in there. We may find that there's times tough years, we got to overgraze. We got to push things a little bit farther than we'd like. But then there comes years that we can go back and start to replenish that soil. So being able to see our nutrients, water holder capacity, infiltration. Every farmer or producer in here, put a shovel in your truck, man. They're cheap. We got 2 eyes. We can smell, unless you got COVID or something. Anyways, but you can look at that soil. You can look at the soil coverage. Okay, these are just quick things that don't cost a lot of money. But you can tell, hey, how long is my herd going to be able to stay on here? How well does it do in cool season and warm season times? Am I seeing earthworms? Am I seeing biology as far as insects, spiders? We were out today. I had the opportunity before I got here, because I do travel across the land like a gypsy, but Mr. John Abe Teague, if any of you know him, he's got a great thing going over there at his farm, and thankful to be a part of it and work together to improve what he's got going. But we were able to see where he was at and kind of get the baseline, get the program put together, and move forward. When I talk about this baseline, this is such a huge word for me. It's so simple, but it's down to the agronomy side of it, the financial side of it, but then what's the future? Where's our plan? Okay? And it goes down to, it should be back off on the herd until we can establish more grass, or do we need more fertility to kind of jumpstart things, but then we can keep it going with living roots? And without knowing these things, you really don't know where you're at, and you're kind of Wild West hip shooting. If at any point somebody has a question, jump in, because I'm super ADD, and I'll admit it. So if something's on my brain, throw your hand up and jump in. You can yell at me. My wife does all the time. So here's a farm over in, I think this is Cumberland County, Tennessee. It was in pasture, and then they switched over to row crop. Of course, it did very good. Been in pasture 25 years, throw corn on there. Fantastic, because we've had tons of carbon from the grasses and not as many lagoons. So when we start to get that carbon-nitrogen ratio back in aspect, because they threw corn in it and threw tons of nitrogen at it, which was probably too much. We had some really amazing crops. Started to add some diversity with covers. And as you can see, even though his soils are kind of tight, there's not a lot of soil structure there, but I do see some fine roots, and he's starting to build it. When we go through drought periods, we're always going to see root structures, and of course this is on a row crop situation, but even if you were to pull that Atchison or any other type of drill, the immediate root zone of that plant is going to follow the path of least resistance. So again, another quick identifier is if you just planted a pasture or a field, go out there with a shovel and dig it up. See which way the roots are going. See where the majority of it is. This might be a quick compaction indicator. Or hey, we need to get our calcium mag liming situation figured out. But again, these are just identifiers that you already have been given. So you can go out and look at these things and kind of see where you're headed in what direction. This is a soil test. I sat down with a producer. I was contacted by the Crossville NRCS, and they said, hey, I got these soil tests. Guy really needs help understanding it. Well, I'm not super smart with big fancy words, so I like taking it from PhD down to a GED. I got one of those, I know. Again, just kidding, guys. You guys, wake up a little bit. Hey, how many of you are awake? If you're awake, raise your right hand real quick. Come on, just shake it at me. Hey, guys, this is your right and this is your left, but you're awake. I see it. Thank you. Anyways, we went through this soil test. Now, granted, this is only one leg of soil health, okay? So the 3 legs, can anybody tell me what one leg of soil health is? Nitrogen is definitely a nutrient, but when we're talking about the 3 legs, we've got what's really important. I'm sorry, what? So pH is very important on the chemistry physics, so that's definitely in one of those legs. The other one is water and air, right? Because the soil is like us. If they can't get water, nutrients can't solubilize. They can't get the water they need to be hydrated. Plus, you have the airflow. So if air is flowing in, water is flowing with it. We get our chemistry, physics, and we get our biology. So, again, I keep walking. I can't stand still. We're figuring out the chemistry, physics. So we can quickly understand where this farmer is. So you said pH, all right? Number one thing, when I look at a soil test, and again, this is going to be in my evaluation as I'm going through my steps, I want to get my liming right, but I don't want to over-apply lime, because if anybody's ever looked at a pH scale, whether you're doing a hard reset on a pasture that's maybe got heavy pucking, lots of rutting, maybe you've continually took round bales out there, but you're wanting to fix that pasture, so you know you're going to have a little bit of deep tillage just to get a hard reset to implement living roots. This is a good time to add a little bit maybe extra lime just to see where you're at, but don't over apply, because you can raise your pH too high and tie up nutrients. And I'll put you guys to sleep talking about that. But so pH, number one priority to look at. Number two, what is the purpose of the pasture or the paddock or whatever you're doing? What are you hoping to get off of it? How many head are you going to run? That sort of thing. So that would be my fertilizers. As the gentleman said, nitrogen, important. We don't want to over apply, but as we balance our soils and get those three legs back functioning, we'll find that we can fix the majority of our problems by just adding seeds and living roots and then praying for the good rain. So the other thing, you can fine tune some things, but at the end of the day, it's amazing. Has anybody ever went by a construction zone that's been there for a year and not seen anything grow? Something's going to grow. All right, there might be some bare spots, but that soil is designed to like have identifier plants or something. And if you guys will get online to TNACD, is that right? I think it's tnacd.org. You can look up identifier plants. You're going to see Mr. Greg Brand's beautiful face on there. They've got a lot of good videos on there, a lot of good resources. I took the place of Mike Hubbs, which was right beside Greg for a lot of years, and I was given this opportunity about a year and a half ago. So there's a lot of write-ups and things in there that may help you, might be some good reads. So look that up if you get a chance. Ward Laboratories, a big thanks to them. They were able to donate, and they've got some really cool prizes. If you guys win one of these prizes, I know Ward Labs will help you, but if you'll also contact me or contact your NRCS or USDA office, they can get a hold of me as well. I'll come out. Or maybe we can't all get together. I understand we're in some trying times. We can jump on a Zoom meeting or something, and I'll help interpret that. And we can look at where you're at and build a plan for you, okay? So there's help out there. That's what my job is, so don't be afraid to call or text. But what we have here is a biological test from Ward Labs out of Nebraska. They, again, this is definitely going to help us on that biological side, looking at carbon-nitrogen ratios. We can start to build our mixes. So when we're looking like Ray's Crazy Mix, depending on when we want to establish that paddock or reseed that, we can speed up the process in which biology breaks down and utilizes free soluble nutrients, okay? We can do that with seed. Who likes to get money and not have to go to work? No, wait a minute. Put your hands down. Come on. Nobody likes that. Well, guys, remember that movie, If You Build It, They'll Come? That baseball movie? All right, the same thing in the soil. If you add that diversity, it's going to be a little different depending on where you're at or what your purpose is, but you'll bring that biology to the table, and they'll turn that farm around. I've got producers that have been at it 10, 15 years of cover crops. They're still planting seeds every year, but those seeds, or the buggies and the fertilizer trailers that used to go across the fields, now, yeah, they've backed off. They've had to incorporate a few other things, add some diversity, but they're letting the seeds do what the seeds are supposed to do, and then bring in pollinators, bring in birds. You know, we always used to look at all these cartoons, and you see the bird twerping over, or twerping. What's that? Anybody know what twerping means? I'll brand that. Chirping, and you see the fox and the hound. I've never seen my dogs hang out with a fox, but anyways, when you get that cycle, the ecosystem working again, you step back. Now, there's times you got to manage, we got to nip some things in the bud. But when you get undesirable things, it's trying to tell you something. It might be, hey, you got a low pH, or you got high compaction, or you're kind of pushing me too hard here. Or it might be, you need to add some more diversity. So that soil will tell you what's going on. But these are ways to measure and scale. I get asked a lot, what do you really do? Well, I just tell them, I exercise. They're like, what do you mean? I said, these jaws, man, these are nutcrackers. I can just keep going, just talk about it. But really, when I look at these tests, it's somewhere between agronomy, financial advising, and Dr. Phil. Because when things go wrong, people need answers. And so when we have these to go back to, these baselines, maybe your credit card got charged and you didn't even go to Tijuana or China or wherever, you can go back and find out why something went wrong. So when you put these in your farm report or whatever, they're just great tools to utilize. It doesn't matter where it is or what you're doing. Like I told you, a shovel, you learn so much so quick. How easy is it to get in? Where's your bedrock? Where's your wet spots? Did it just rain? Has there been a drought? How far did it infiltrate? How many holes are in that? How much root system is in that? Again, another test we can talk about. And the cool thing with Ward and what they do on theirs is they'll give you a quick assessment. Let's see here. Oh, look at that. I don't even have to jump this time. He doesn't make fun of me. They'll give you a quick indicator where you're at. And then if you have a problem, you can call them. They have a team of agronomists as well. And there's other labs that'll do it as well too. So find what works for you. And I'm not here to tell you where to go because I'm not really allowed to. But we do know that relationships is what builds anything long term. So get in somewhere, get started where you're comfortable. And if you find it's not working, go somewhere else. It's all right. I don't eat McDonald's every day either. Kind of shows though. Ward does give you some great ratios and gives you some great reads so you can start to self-educate. We get to the end of this. I'm going to give you my story, kind of hopefully be an encouragement to you. Again, this is Casey. She's hiding somewhere. She's over here in the corner. Very knowledgeable, great team. Very thankful for them and their efforts. Again, we have to, as not just the United States, but as a country and a world, set these benchmark parameters and quit fighting against each other and just work together so that we can scale this. Just like the research farms, if you can't duplicate it, we can't all be on the same page, it's kind of hard to mix apples and oranges when we're trying to scale apples. So just keeping things in line and having resources and people we can go to that'll shoot us straight and not just fill our heads with something to sell something. So again, here's another, that same producer. These people are awesome. They're over in Crossville, but they came in and, small producer, only a few acres, and they're doing hoop houses. So, they're doing farm-to-table vegetables and flowers and things of that nature. So it's really fun of implementing cover crops in this and pollinators and letting seeds and biology do the work for them so they can enjoy more of visiting with people and things they enjoy. Of course, as cattle grazers and producers, you guys know how important this is. Without the livestock, you've got a very slow process. Hay fields are a different thing. I understand there's some places that are just sacrifices. We're going to continually have to pour money into it. You're buying nutrients, you're buying minerals. But you're depleting that bank account. So you got to keep it up. But when it comes to your pastures, you can let them work for you. All right, so again, if you missed that opportunity to take that picture to get my information, please do. If anybody has got soil tests, I'm sure nobody showed up today with soil tests, but if you did, catch me before I leave. I'm going to be here the whole time. A lot of people ask me where I'm from. So I'm from Ohio. I'm not a vacationer that got lost and just ended up in Tennessee because I was coming back from Florida and ran out of gas. That's what everybody tells me. Family farmed, so we grew up 3,400 acres, corn, wheat, beans, and 50 acres of barley tobacco, as well as our neighbors. And then we had 2 dairies that were neighbors. So I don't know that I really had a passion for it, but I came from a large family. We didn't have a lot of money, but we had to utilize each other to make it. So Dad always said, mother necessity, father invention. And I was just telling somebody earlier, it's amazing how you guys as producers can take what you have, whether it's a lot or little, and can stretch that thing and make it work. Now, some people call it engineering. I call it ingenuity. When you can take pieces and parts and get through with what you got going on. But we had the construction company and we farmed. So putting in septics and driveways, and I learned about water tables and I learned about soils and different types of soils, and I didn't waste my time on all that. I was just trying to get a paycheck and go home so we could eat, right? I had a full ride to Caterpillar school. Went to school, did not go for agronomy. Went and graduated top of my class from Owens. Applied chemical science as well as Caterpillar. Was a field mechanic for 9 years. Have a wife and 5 beautiful children. She's a nurse. So being young, 19, 20, getting married, having kids, we never gave up. We fought through. I know what it's like to have nothing multiple times, and I know what it's like to have enough. So I know how important it is just for somebody to pick up that phone when you're having a hard time. Broke my neck and went paralyzed in 2015. If you guys get close enough to me, you'll see I've got this cool little scar. Well, this scar is not from leaving the toilet seat up or peeing on the seat. That was my joke, because my wife said she's going to kill me if I pee on the seat one more time. So I just had boys and they do it for me. I broke off my 2 front teeth, went paralyzed in my left eye, and lost this whole right side. By the grace of God, I got every bit of it back. But I had a problem. It was a me problem because I thought I knew what I was going to do with my life. Well, in that period of going through rehab and getting back, I helped my pap on the farm, okay? Kind of from one of them hamburger helper families. You guys know what I mean. His, hers, ours. Nobody can get along, but everybody wants the most. So I knew I couldn't stay on the family farm, but I wanted to get back into agriculture. I didn't want to sell anything. There's nothing wrong with selling things. Everybody has their niche. But being a mechanic, I'm a troubleshooter. And I love people. Like I said when I got going, I want to see faces, because that way I can tell whether you're awake, if I got to say something stupid, make fun of myself, fall on the floor, pee my pants, whatever. I'm going to get you guys involved because I'm here to help you, all right? I sold equipment for 1 year here in East Tennessee. The Lord put me down here. I worked for Company Wrench. I had no idea what I was doing down here. I'm selling track hose, but I couldn't really sell track hose because I would get with the farmers and we'd build this relationship, or the construction workers. Well, they might be a Caterpillar guy or a Volvo guy, and here I am selling Kobelco. Next thing I know, I'm selling parts, and I'm not making any commission. Well, it's hard to raise a family on no money. Got into independent crop consulting. I looked it up, and I was with my pap, and he showed me the books. Now, my pap's been very blessed. Kind of got the best of the best. It's get up every morning and decide, what are we going to go kill? Well, when I seen the money we were putting out, the fertility we were putting out, and I started Googling removal rates, didn't make sense. We were leaving so much money out there that was just washing away and going to the streams, or just stupid stuff. I think there's balance to everything. There's give and take. So I contacted a gentleman in Northern Ohio, Nestor Ag, called him up, said, I want to meet you. Well, you can tell I'm pretty bashful. Showed up at his house. I'm sitting at this man's house. He walks outside. I thought he was going to shoot me because I was there before the sun came up. But I was just so eager because I knew I didn't have 6, 8 years to go to agronomy school, which I'm very thankful for those of you that teach, those of you that are involved, even people that are helping with FFA. You don't know how much that's going to change somebody's life or a difference it can make. But I got grandfathered into Brookside Laboratories as an independent consultant. Started my consulting business. 3 guys from 3 different parts of the United States took me under their wing. And they said, look, number 1, be honest. Number 2, get used to reading books again. I'm like, I want pictures. I don't want to read. You serious? Nobody goes to the bathroom and wants to start reading a book. At least I don't. I'm going to look at a tractor magazine or something. Well, in that journey, there's times I would sell myself, and I knew I had 12 days to figure it out. Now, I'm not suggesting that to anybody, but I knew I had a team of people behind me that if I fell, we would get the answer, and it would be honest. Through that journey, I'm here, and I'm able to work with you all, and I'm thankful for that. And I work in 5 states. I speak all over the place. I'm going to be down in Alabama. Excited about that. We didn't go on vacation much last year. So it's the same thing, guys. Everything comes down to building that relationship, being honest with yourself, penciling out what your future is, what you would like to see yourself doing. Don't be upset when it doesn't happen. So I'd like to still be a mechanic. Is it simpler? And then minimize any of the variables for crucial loss that you possibly can. Minimize the risks and move forward. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. Hopefully I wasn't too windy and goofy, but that's just who I am. But in all seriousness, if you need help, reach out. I know anybody in here will help you. Mike McElroy and I met him about 1.5 years ago. I'm not sure if he's thankful or if he wants to hit block on my contact in his phone. But it's great having these guys in your corner because of the relationships and what we can learn together. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremiah. You know, one thing that we preach, that I preach for 40 years in RCS is soil test, soil test. And that was the most difficult thing to get across to producers because they thought it was too much money. Well, I'm going to give you an example. Just down the road here, we leased 35 acres. We've got half of it fenced. We've had 8 South Pole steers since January the 3rd grazing on it. We haven't grazed all 18 acres yet out of the 35. I took a soil test about 3 weeks ago. And the previous history was hay, 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 and hay for 7 years. Nothing ever put back on it. I knew what the soil test was going to come back, but I said, well, we're going to look at it and see. Guys, the removal rate on nutrients for hay is 3 times more potash than it is phosphorus. Okay? For every ton per acre that you remove, it's 3 times more. And one thing I've always preached is triple 19 is not the answer to put back on a hay field. It's a 1 to 1 to 1 ratio, and you're removing 3 to 1. That doesn't make no sense. And over a period of time, what happens, you get such an imbalance of nutrients, you're not going to grow any forage. You're going to grow a lot of weeds, but you're going to see your yield really reduce. So just want to make that comment and just plant that little seed in your mind, and something to think about.